Hey, we're ready for the poll. Okay, so we're gonna kick off our little Q&A with a fun little poll about Halloween. So everybody, let's talk about our favorite candies.
It depends. I like all these candies. Sometimes
I'm just,
I'm in a chocolate mood and I want Snickers, you know? Other times I'm in like a not chocolate mood and I want a pink Starburst or Skittles. I can't answer this question.
I don't think I ever want a Snickers, a Starburst, or a Skittles. Unless they're sour Skittles.
That's so interesting.
I'm just gonna mute myself now.
Skittles are so good, especially the green Skittles. Those are my favorite.
Why?
I also would say Snickers. Um, Reese's used to be my favorite, and then I decided that they're too they're too small. So I want a little bit more in my bite of chocolate, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm a Kit Kat girl. That would be my top choice every time out of these options.
I would say I'm none of the above, but I'll put my favorite out here. I like Twix or Milky Way, but the Milky Way dark wrappers, the black
Midnight?
wrappers.
Chocolate ones are
Those ones
so
are really
good.
good. Yeah.
Midnight, always.
I am a both Twix right or Twix left gal. I don't know the difference between them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right Twix is the correct answer.
Right?
Does someone know the difference? Because I don't.
Okay, but also I'm not over the fact that you just said you like dark chocolate. Gross.
Dark chocolate is good. It's good.
Well,
Not
okay.
not like
Chocolate is
70%, but like maybe like 65%. Like that's, to me, that's a good mix.
here's the reason why I like Midnight Twix is because of the marshmallow thing they have instead of the caramel thing that they have inside,
Whoa.
you know?
So it's not the dark chocolate, it's the other part.
Yes, but also the dark chocolate's pretty good, but I do like milk chocolate over dark. I take that back actually.
I
I'm gonna
think if
start
I
talking.
could choose milk chocolate or dark chocolate for the rest of my life, I would pick dark chocolate.
I think I'm going milk.
Milk.
Milk,
always.
1000%.
I would say I'm more of a Sour Patch guy. I love like Sour Patch watermelons. So I could destroy a whole bag of those. It's horrible for my teeth, but it's good.
Have you had Sour Patch not watermelon,
The
strawberries?
The strawberries. They're
I haven't
fine.
had those. Are they good?
Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
yeah.
Micah, go to Target right now.
Literally,
Okay,
well,
I'll just leave.
in
I'll just leave.
No,
57
don't leave. We want you here
6 minutes.
after.
Take us on a Target run. An influencer.
A day in the life of Micah.
Very boring. Not gonna lie, very
Wow.
boring.
Okay, see, there's a lot of Kit Kat people out there. There's also a lot of Snickers people. Few Reese's people. I'm honestly surprised Reese's isn't higher, but okay. Also, I'm gonna just say I say Reese's. I don't say Reese's, but
Well, Reese's is wrong, so you say it correctly.
perfect. All right, so that was a fun little way to start out our student takeover Q&A, but we are going to start by introducing ourselves. So I'd love to know from you all what your names are, obviously what year you are, what major you are, and then tell me a little bit about how you are involved on campus. I'll start so you guys can think about these answers. But my name's Kira. I am a senior here studying Christian ministry with a double minor in psychology and biblical studies. I love APU, go Cougs. But I'm involved in a lot of different ways on campus. I am working for admissions as a senior admissions intern. I love it here. I love working for admissions. It's a cool way to see the inner workings of the process, but also get to share my love for APU with a bunch of people who are considering it. And I also am an RA on campus. So I'm a resident advisor is what that means. So I'm inside the dorms. And I'm basically like a big sister for all the other girls on my hall, which is really fun. But Matt is also an RA, so I'm sure he'll talk more about this too. But yeah, we're here to facilitate community in residence life, which is really fun. But I'm gonna jump over to Reagan. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Reagan. I am a junior on campus. My major is liberal studies, which means elementary education. And then my minor is in TESOL, which is teaching English to speakers of other languages. And so that's really fun. Within like elementary education, my major, all of that stuff, I am working in the classroom. So I go to a local elementary school and I work in a first grade classroom every single Friday night, which is so fun. I'm also involved there's a women's Bible study that's it's held on campus, but it's not through the school. So I'm a part of that and on leadership. Obviously I work in the admissions office, so I'm here. I work in the school education office as well. And then just other little things throughout school. I go to all the school events because, like Kira said, go Cougs. I love APU.
All right, thank you, Reagan. Let's jump over to Micah.
All right. Hi, my name is Micah. I am a senior here at APU. I'm also part of the kinesiology department. So that basically means like sports medicine. I eventually want to become an athletic trainer and work with athletes. In terms of what I do on campus, I'm the co-captain of the men's volleyball club here on campus. I used to be an alpha leader. Yeah, I'm just really busy with school, so there isn't much time in my schedule.
Perfect. Thanks, Micah. All right, Brenly, can you introduce yourself?
No, I can't. Just kidding. I'm Brenly. I am a senior on campus. I am a Christian ministry major, biblical studies minor. I'm obviously an admissions intern, which is why I'm here. I am super busy with like work and school this year, so that's all I'm doing this year. But I have in the past been a part of other things on campus, like leading a D group and things like that. So yeah, that was the questions.
Awesome. Thanks, Brenly. All right, Matt, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Matt. I'm a senior majoring in communication management and minoring in public relations. I have been involved in campus life in a number of ways in previous years. And like Kira mentioned before, I now am a resident advisor in one of our residence hall buildings.
Incredible. Lauren, can you introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, hi, my name is Lauren. I'm one of the freshman admissions representatives here at APU. I also went to APU. I graduated in 2018. I was an English major. Go Cougs, go English majors.
Awesome. All right, so before we jump into our Q&A, we are going to watch a little video that's just going to give a better picture of what life looks like here at APU.
Being a young adult, this is a very confusing time of life of trying to figure out what are my strengths, what are my gifts, what is God calling me to do, and just so many questions.
What if somebody asks me something and I don't know the answer? What if somebody's saying they're struggling and I don't know what to say?
How does God see me? How does God see other people? How do I fit into this picture?
What is this really for me?
How can we make them feel like they belong? How can we love on them?
Am I saying yes because it's people pressuring me to do it? Or am I saying yes because God has called me to this position to serve?
Who is God and what does he say?
How can I be a difference maker?
Coming here, I kind of just wanted to stay in my lane. Come into class, go home after class, and not really be involved. That started changing as I got into men's chorale, and then really getting to know the professors and the staff here.
When I step into an APU classroom, I feel like my professor is overjoyed to have me there to learn and to share their experience with me. the intense amount of patience, focus on not only your learning about the subject, but how it connects to God's needs in the community.
The people here have challenged me and encouraged me to actually read God's word. As a swimmer, we have weekly Bible studies, and so together we're growing as athletes, but we're also growing as Christians.
The professors, they just amplify that, portraying this message of hospitality, giving the confidence that you belong in this program, in this school, and in this field.
I've been able to build up my skills and my knowledge and my abilities in order to become the lead of the research team. And in that leadership position, I've been able to mentor a number of new students who now mentor incoming students.
I got involved with CSA my freshman year. I went to Mexico, went on action team to the Philippines, studied abroad in South Africa, led a trip to Selma, Alabama, and then I'm leading a team to Spain. It's allowed my learning to be more than just singular. It's a part of the way that I see the world and the way that I interact with people.
As SGA, we've gotten to really care for different kinds of students, advocating for disabilities, advocating for undocumented students. This year taught me that I'm just here to amplify voices because all these students have a voice, and I'm just there to walk with them and cheer them on.
I get to come here and God gets to use this space and my experience here in ways that I never would have expected. Seeing fellow students and professors that care about me and love me. Belonging is not because of what I do, but it's because of the people that I'm with.
It's more than just being a student in a classroom or in a building. You are, but you're also part of a family. It's not just preaching the words of love, but actually like being that and acting out those words, really loving people around you.
Like it can look like standing by people and crying with them, being in silence and standing up when you need to stand up.
When they reach out to you and when they're comforting you, it is in those moments that you feel the most belonging and you feel this has been and will continue to be the best place for college that I could have gone, because that sense of belonging is continuous. It doesn't just exist in the happy times, it exists in the sad times.
The very special part of APU is our community, because our community is willing to sit down with anyone and everyone to really understand who they are and where they come from. And I think that's really hard to find in this world.
As I become an empathy, I do want to adopt that posture as a therapist, showing the humility of Christ to those who I'm leading or to those I'm serving.
And really develop just the sense of compassion and empathy. And those are things that I hope to extend in my physician-patient relationships.
It's just beautiful of how music can reach so many barriers. You can just reach right over and just touch a person through that. And I've discovered that through you.
They turned me into a Christian leader, the type of leader that I needed to be to go into the workforce. Not only do I have an understanding of what it means to be in a Christian community, but I know how to associate with people that don't understand that faith basis. And I'll know how to do it with peace and understanding and compassion and mercy. Being a disciple does not just mean hanging out with Christians all the time. It means going into those spaces where you might not feel comfortable and seeing God's work and glory even in those moments.
Our time at APU is so short. It's just a little blip, and we're going to go out into the world, and people are going to see Jesus' light through us. And so just hearing those comments of they see something different in us, that's encouraging to me, knowing that the work that we are doing here at APU is to bring God honor and glory, and it is. And I think it'll continue for many years to come.
Perfect. I love that video. I think it gives a pretty well-rounded picture of what life looks like here. We are going to now open up for questions. So you can submit them through the Q&A box. We'll see them pop up and we can start to answer all of your questions. So you can start putting those in the box now. While we wait for some questions, I am going to open up with okay, I'm going to ask a question to start. My question is, what was it that initially drew you to APU, and how do you see that on campus now? And I'm going to ask that to Reagan. And then Matt, you can give your answer as well.
So what drew me to APU was one of my friends in high school, like introduced me to APU. So then like I visited my first time at APU when I was a sophomore in high school, and then again as a junior and again as a senior. And every time I was just blown away with like the community of APU and a lot of just what the video that we just watched talked about. Just with like how close the community is and how just like you'll walk around. We have this place called Cougar Walk, and you'll walk down Cougar Walk and like you'll see all of your friends and everyone will say hi to everyone. And it just like feels like a one big family. And also just with like the different like things that APU does, it's really cool just to see the whole school come together and like worship the Lord together, or like go to dances together, or go to events together. And it's just so fun like seeing how like raw and authentic the community of APU is.
Yeah, just kind of backpacking off of Reagan's answer. The community is really like what drew me here, and I got that first taste of the APU community at one of the preview events. And so that is an event for juniors and seniors in high school to come to APU and stay overnight in one of the dorms, and you get paired up with an ambassador, which is a current freshman here on campus. And you basically just get to go to a bunch of like informational sessions, campus tours, as well as get to go to chapel, get to do a class visit, I believe. And so you really just get to see what a day in the life on campus is like. And so that introduced me to kind of, yeah, just like this normal schedule of like classes and going to chapel and meeting new people as well. And everyone was really welcoming. And it was cool to also have that experience of living in the dorms and like seeing one of the dorm buildings and like living overnight for a time. So yeah, I would say the preview event is really what drew me to APU in the first place.
Awesome. Thank you both for your answers. I'm going to ask another question, and I encourage you all watching to keep typing questions in the chat so that we can make sure we answer all the things that are on your mind. There's no dumb questions, so please participate in any way that you feel comfortable doing. But my next question is, what was the first year on campus like for you? I know you guys are all juniors and seniors, so if you could tell me a little bit what that freshman transition looked like for you, that would be great. And I'm going to ask Brenly and then Micah, you can touch after that.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, my freshman year was a little bit unique because it was like 2019 to 2020. So it did unfortunately get cut short. But my first year at APU was honestly like way better than I could have ever imagined. I was really worried about the transition from high school to college. I should also mention I am from Arizona. So it was going to be like a big move for me. I was moving states. I didn't know anyone coming here. I didn't have any family here, which was just really overwhelming. Like the thought of moving to a place I had never been and I didn't know anyone, and like starting on this new like leg of my life. And so I was really nervous. I was like, what if I don't make any friends? And welcome weekend, I was like, oh, I'm not going to talk to anybody. This is so weird. I don't want to do anything. And somebody had encouraged me, like, do all of the things. Like, even if this is the only thing that you do during welcome weekend, do all of the things. And then you never have to attend an event again if you don't want to. And I just took that to heart. And one of the things that you do on welcome weekend is get your alpha group. And so for those of you who don't know, our alpha program is just a group of like approximately 10 students, typically your same major. And you have an alpha leader who is like an upperclassman who is leading you, and you guys meet once a week through your entire first semester. And that was like my first group of friends. Actually, that's how me and Kira met. And we're still friends to this day. So it was like, that was my first experience at APU. And I immediately like had connections and familiar faces and these people. And I quickly realized like everyone is in the same boat. Like everyone is like scared and nobody knows anyone, and college is new for everyone. And I went into it with that mindset, and it was absolutely amazing. My largest class size my freshman year was like maybe 30 students, and it was like a general education psychology lecture. The majority of my classes were like anywhere from like 6 to 15 students. So like small, the professor wanted to know me, they wanted to like help me, they wanted to guide me. So my first like year at APU, even with going home for COVID, was like way better than I ever could have imagined, because they make it really easy to like get connected and feel cared for and like experience everything that you want to experience.
Yeah, my freshman year was amazing. I'm from San Diego, so relatively close to APU compared to Arizona. So I was about 2 hours and a half away from home, and honestly, the transition was a little bit harder. I love my family a lot, so being away from them for that extended amount of time was kind of hard. But I grew to love the people around me. I grew to be even more comfortable with them. I had some of the best times, but the most memorable times inside the dorms with the people on my dorms, and I absolutely would I would not trade that for anything in the world. And I just grew. It just gave me the chance to be able to meet other people, see me um, grow even more. And when my parents were telling me that when I came back for like Christmas, they said that I looked different, and I felt like I had grown, and I felt like I did. And I owe all of that to APU's environment, the way they really encourage family, really encourage connections, and really encourage relationships between our students.
Awesome. Thank you both for sharing. So the next question we have was submitted, and the question is, what are the dorms like? Worried about the size? How big is campus? So great questions, all very important questions. So I'm going to ask Matt and Brenly to respond because they lived in different areas freshman year. So if you guys could give us just a couple different, explanations of what these dorms are like.
Yeah. So I'll talk about Trinity. That is our newest dorm building. It's also our biggest dorm building. It's a co-ed building. And so guys and girls are separated by wings. And yeah, so you have, I think there's like 5 floors on each side, and they have community style bathrooms. And so each floor has like one bathroom that all of the residents share. And which honestly, I was really scared about, like, because I don't really love public restrooms, but it was honestly like so fun at the same time having like shower parties just like where you like play music and you're all like in like different shower stalls, but you're all listening to the same song. It's so fun. Okay. That's really fun. And then you just like run into like your friends while brushing your teeth, and it's like wild. But I loved community style bathrooms. And sorry, they're like flaming me for saying shower parties, but it's fun, trust me. Okay. You also have laundry in each building. It's really fun, and each floor comes with an RA, and so I'm an RA in Trinity currently. And all the RAs are super helpful, super here for you, and they're literally there to just be your friends and be a great resource on campus, and one of your first resources available to you. And you are also like, you have easy access to them because they live on the same floor as you. So you just knock on their door and be like, where's my first class? And then they're like, oh, that's over here. And then they go show you. So it's great. Yeah, I love also the dorms. Sorry, you mentioned something about size. The dorms here, I feel like, are on the larger end. Like when I moved in, my parents were like, this is way bigger than my dorm and my mom went to like UCSB and stuff. So like, and my dad went to Biola, but both of those, the dorms are bigger here. And yeah, so love living on campus, love the dorms. It's great.
Yeah, so I also lived on campus, and I lived in Adams Hall forever. Woo! No one else. Okay. Anyways, maybe one day somebody else will do that with me. Adams Hall is our all girls dorm. It was also community style bathrooms. And similar to Matt, like I loved community style bathrooms. At first I was like, that's so weird. We didn't have shower parties, so you don't have to worry. Not everyone does that. That's just a him thing, I guess. But I did meet one of my really good friends because we brushed our teeth at the same time every single night. And it was like week 3, and I was like, we're in here every night. What's your name? And she responded, and we became friends, and it was super fun. So there are just really cool things and really good community that comes from our dorms, and each one has like a different, like, not like style, but like personality, you know, like they're all a little bit different. And so they're just really fun, really welcoming to everyone, even when like I had friends, a lot of friends who lived in Trinity, and even though I didn't live there, it was like always a welcoming space for me to come and to hang out and to study and to do things like that. So that was really great. I also think in the question it mentioned size of our campus. I think the size of our campus is pretty great. We have approximately 8,000 students, but that includes undergraduate and graduate programs. So there aren't actually 8,000 students on our campus, living on our campus all the time. But it's the perfect size in the sense that like it's small and you can get to know everyone, and it's really easy to make really good connections and have good community. And you don't feel like overwhelmed with the size of the people and the things to do. But it's also not so small that like everyone knows all of your business, and like you can't have a moment to be like, I just need a break, like I just need to be removed. So it's kind of that perfect, like, small class sizes, easy to get involved, easy to be a part of community. You build great connections because of the way that our campus is built. But it's also, yeah, it's just great. And that's all.
Perfect. Micah, not to put you on the spot, but you lived in Engstrom, right? Could you give a little idea of what Engstrom is like, since it's a little different?
Yeah, well, I lived in Ancient as an RAR, which stands for an RA's roommate. So I didn't live in there as a freshman, but I did live in Ancient for a year. It was actually an awesome experience. The way Ancient is styled is that it's a Jack and Jill style rooms. That means 2 rooms are connected by 1 bathroom. So in most cases, it's 4 people to the bathroom and then 2 people to the sink that's going to be inside your room. So that's the way it's going to be for Ancient. It's not a community side bathroom, which I think I also liked, but I think I liked having community bathrooms a lot more. The downsides of having that type of bathroom, the Jack and Jill style, is that you do have to clean and you do have to stock the bathroom itself. So that was the thing that I also had to get used to. And yeah, but living in Asian was honestly awesome. It was a great way to like meet other people, because all of them were able like really close to each other, and we were able to like make good friends next to each other, next to my roommates. So honestly, it was really, really nice.
Awesome. Thanks, Micah. So the next question I'm going to ask is, what is the chapel experience like at APU? And I'm going to ask Reagan and Micah to answer this.
So our chapels at APU, they're offered 4 times a week, but you're required to attend 3 of the chapels. So it's through the beginning of the school year through, I think, up until Thanksgiving break is like when you have to, you're like required to do 3 chapels a week. And basically they're Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings, and then Thursday nights. And so the Monday, Wednesday, Friday are from 10:30 to 11:20, and like there's no classes that time, no offices are open, like everything is shut down, so every student is able to go to chapels. And then also Thursday night starts at like 8 p.m. and then that's kind of just like an open-ended chapel. And the Thursday night chapels are a little bit different, like they're called response chapels or like Kaleo chapel, and they'll be set up in like a different style type thing. But basically our chapels are set up where we have like our thing called a chapel band, which is like a student-led worship band that we have. So if you really like singing or playing an instrument, then you can audition to be on chapel band. And it's all just like students who are up there worshiping. And so there's that for like 20 minutes ish, and then one of the campus pastors or pastors from around the area or like missionaries fly in and they give like a brief little message. So it's like kind of a mini church service type thing, but they're really fun. You also do get 10 absences throughout your, like each semester. So if you like have a test to study for or a meeting or like want to sleep in that day, you can use those 10 absences and like no questions asked.
Yeah, Reagan kind of covered everything, but yeah, I would just want to say like chapels is an amazing experience to be able to find a place to worship God, but also a place that you can worship with other people. One of my favorite chapels is Kaleo. Kaleo is very much like student favorite here on campus. It's very much community based. It's a lot very intimate relationship with all of our students on campus, and I really, really do enjoy chapels.
We have another good question in the chat, which is how do they know you attend chapel service? I'll ask this one because it's a quick one. Right now, you just scan in with a QR code and then you scan back out with that same QR code. So a pretty easy system, but that's how they track how many chapels you've been to during the week, and they make sure that you're there and staying for the whole thing. So my next question is, what is food and dining like on campus? Where is your favorite place to eat? Is there like a go-to Grubhub order you have? And I'm going to ask, I feel like Micah would have a good answer to this, and I'll ask Matt as well.
Awesome. Yeah. So all of our food on campus is amazing. We have a lot of different places to eat, both on our East and West campus. My favorite place personally to eat is the 1899 Dining Hall, or the CAF, as students I would call it. I like it because it's like a buffet style, and I eat a lot. So honestly, being able to have as much as I can is really, really good, and it's one of the best things for community styles also, because there's our big tables in there. And during my freshman year, everyone on my hall would go down to the CAF together. We had one big dinner, and that was absolutely amazing. And we had these things called cereal nights where we would just all eat cereal for the whole day. And it was absolutely amazing. And I had the best memories as part of the CAF.
Yeah, nothing really beats a good hall dinner at the CAF. I think, yeah, the CAF's a good option because they do have unlimited food. But I think for variety purposes, I like the grill on West Campus. They have like American cuisine, but also like Mexican cuisine. And so like I love like getting their little burrito bowls. I also like their chicken sandwiches are pretty good, and it's like they're pretty quick with it too. And so it's pretty easy to grab it in between classes as well. But yeah, if you have a longer break or you need like a more hearty meal, the CAF is a good option as well. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, my next question is about like what you do when you're not doing homework, when you're not at a meeting or at work or whatever. What do you do on campus? What do you do for fun when you have a few hours of free time? Also, I'm gonna ask Reagan and I'm gonna ask Friendly.
I was waiting for that. Who was gonna say it? What I do not in free time, I don't have a lot of free time. But when I'm not in free time, I live in the apartments on campus. So me and my apartment are just like all four of us are just like best friends. So we usually just like hang out a lot. Also not every, but most juniors and seniors like live in the apartment area. So like all of our friends live in the same apartment complex as us. So we just like go over to them and hang out. We also live right by the foothills, so like there's a road called GMR, and people like go up there to watch the sunset, have a picnic, drive up the road if they want to drive. We're also like 45 minutes away from LA without traffic, so that's if you like to do LA stuff, touristy stuff, there's that. I utilized LA a lot last year for concerts. Like I went to 6 different concerts during last year, which is crazy, and they were all so cheap. Which was super awesome. And then also we're like pretty close to the beach. So like doing that also on the weekends is really fun. So that's like some stuff that I do.
Was I the other person? Yes, it was me. Things that I do when I have free time. Well, we have a really great like surrounding community. So we have lots to do anywhere from like going to Target. That is always a great thing to do in your free time. But also we have a bunch of like restaurants and things like within walking distance. So that's something that I do a lot, like dining with friends. If I like am like, oh, I want to get off campus and do something, we can walk across the street. So there's lots in like walking proximity, which is great. Especially because like freshman year I didn't have a car. And so there were lots of places that I could just like escape to that were like right here. I also, when I have free time, I feel like most of my free time is in like the afternoon, evening time. And during that time, a lot of the time, especially during the weekends and like Friday nights, we have Campus Life and Res Life that put on events for us. So, like Reagan mentioned, I also live in the apartments that are across the street, but it's considered on campus housing. So I do still have an RA, and my RA that is like there to support me. And they also put on community events. They're required to do like 3 a month or something like that. So there's always something going on. And so I love to go hang out with that, whether it's like a ping pong night or they had a petting zoo or they had street meet. So there's always something to do. And then if they're not putting something on, there's Campus Life is putting something on, like they're doing a school dance in a couple of weeks, which is going to be super exciting. They had Waco Taco where you like walk in laps, and like every lap you get or 2 laps you get a free taco. Like who doesn't love free tacos? So between like the surrounding things in the area that are like right there for you to access and the things that they put on campus, there's always something to do in your free time, which is so fun and so amazing. And then obviously all the things that Reagan mentioned as well are awesome resources.
Incredible. All right, for my next question, I would love to know what there is on campus as a resource to help you build community. What things can you get involved in pretty early once you're on campus? And I'll ask Matt and Reagan.
Yeah, so I don't remember who talked about it earlier, but the welcome weekend, you're given a alpha group. And so the alpha program is a really big way that people get involved on campus, both in their alpha group and then later their sophomore year becoming alpha leaders and getting involved that way. That's a really big way. There's a number of leadership opportunities on campus, student leadership positions on campus. You can work for our student government association as representatives for different areas on campus. You can work in, I think Campus Life has a few freshman opportunities. Yeah, there's just a number of leadership opportunities, and then there's a number of like clubs and ethnic organizations that you are also able to get involved in, where you can find people with similar interests, similar backgrounds, and find community through those clubs and organizations on campus.
Love it. Basically, yeah, a lot of what Matt said. The clubs are really a great thing to get involved in. The like first or second weekend of school, APU, or not APU, Campus Life through APU puts on this like fall festival type thing where all the clubs come out and they just like set up a booth. And that's just really good because like so many people go to that. There's a concert in it, there's free food, all of that stuff. And so people just like walk around and look at the different clubs. And I'm in the outdoor adventure club, so that's just like if you like hiking or camping or backpacking or stuff like that, like that's there for you. And I've made some friends that way. There's also discipleship groups, which is where there's an upperclassman who leads like discipleship group. So basically like a Bible study or a small group, and they have like 5 to 10 people, and so it'll be like all girls, all guys in one discipleship group, and you basically just meet like once a week. You can do a devotion, You can do just like hanging out. You can just make it like a safe space and relaxing space. And then we also have intramurals, which are like if you want to play a sport, but you don't want to play for APU, or even if you're not even good at sports, like you can join our intramurals, which are just like kind of clubs. So there's like volleyball, there's soccer, there's basketball, there's other things that I'm probably forgetting. And so those are just like Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday nights, and you just sign up on a team and you become besties with your team. So that's also pretty fun.
Great. Thank you both. All right. So we have a couple more questions. Next, I want to know more about what your inside the classroom experience is like. We've talked a lot about life outside the classroom. APU's class size, as you guys know, is pretty small, around 15 students. So what has that looked like for you? How has have those smaller class sizes impacted your learning experience? And I would love to hear from Brenly and Matt on this one.
Yeah, so I didn't think that I was gonna like the small class sizes because I was like, oh no, like how am I ever gonna skip class if I have like a small class size? You hear like all these people who go to like big universities and they're like, yeah, I never went to class and like passed class. And I got here and I realized that like I absolutely wanted these small class sizes because the learning is really tailored to like exactly how I need to learn. So whether it's like I need extra like tutoring, like maybe my professor is like, hey, here are my office hours, like come hang out with me, come talk with me, like do whatever you need to do. But they also can recognize like my work patterns. So it's not like, oh, there's a TA who's grading my paper. Like, no, it's my professor who's grading my paper and he knows like how hard I've been working, how I tend to write, like, is it improving or is it not? Instead of like just comparing it based off of like a generic like standard, which is super helpful. And they really tailor it to exactly how you learn. So if a lecture-based class isn't for you, then a lot of times your professors will do something more discussion-based or more hands-on. So it's super, super helpful in that sense. It's also great because your classrooms feel like safe spaces. So I was never a person to like talk or ask questions in high school. And now with this small class size, and because of the fact that I know all of my peers in my classes, I'm willing to like step out and ask questions, to ask clarifying questions, to be like, this might sound really, really dumb, but like, can you please help me with this? I'm not understanding. And also like, if I have an idea, share that idea and have other students like expand on it, as well as like my professor, and getting like validation in the fact that like my ideas are really great and there are ways to build off of them. And those are things that you just don't get at like a bigger university and like the giant 300-person lectures.
Yeah, I second everything that Brenly just said. I think also, well, I personally was looking for like the smaller class sizes in a university. And so I've really enjoyed that has been met. And that's just really opened the opportunity for me to build those connections with the professors, and have really like personal relationships with them. And it's funny, like I'm actually like I ran into one the other day and she was like, oh, like, and they just like started casual conversation about weekend plans and stuff like that. So you really get those deeper connections, and they provide guidance throughout like your undergraduate career as well as guidance beyond. And so they're really there for you both in your undergraduate duration time, but they're also resources afterwards. And with those like connections, they'll have you over at like their house. You can babysit their kids. Like literally next week I'm going to IKEA with one of my professors, like with some of my classmates. So yeah, it's a fun time for sure. I really enjoy that APU has those smaller class sizes.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, next question is, what does service learning look like at APU? How have you served both on and off campus? And how have you gotten those service hours? And I would love to ask Matt and Reagan. Micah, I'll get to you in a second. Don't worry.
Yeah, I can start off this question. So a lot of my service credits have actually come from service learning projects. And so that is classes that have a project that normally is a semester long project that you're partnering with an organization in the Azusa area that, and you basically serve them in some way. So I, for example, over COVID, I worked with the neighborhood homework house, and we provided wellness videos for how to care for your mental, emotional, physical health during the pandemic. And I'm currently in a ceramics class that is doing a service learning project with partnering with an elementary school in the area, where like 70, maybe no, it's a number of fourth graders and fifth graders come to our classroom, and we work with them to make mugs. So they get to make their own mugs and little coasters, and they get to glaze them. And then actually next Thursday, so a week from now, we're going over to the elementary school and having like a little tea party with them with the mugs that they made themselves. So that is one way that I've been getting service credits. Another way is that I served on a service engagement team going to West Virginia. And so we worked with a number of organizations over there. And so that was during spring break. And so those service engagement teams typically operate fall break, spring break, and over the summer. And those are a really great way to, one, meet people, and two, experience another culture, and also get those service credits.
That is just the sweetest, having a little tea party with the fourth graders. I love that. For me, a lot of my service credits get completed through liberal studies. So my major, just because I'm in the classroom every single week, student teaching with kids. So you start student teaching your sophomore year and you go all the way through senior year. So that's like basically how all of my service credits are being, completed. I also went on a global engagement team. So over the summer, I went to Honduras. And so I went to Honduras for a month with 6 other students from APU, 6 other girls. I like kind of knew them before, but I just just got to know them so much more in Honduras. In Honduras. In Honduras. Yeah, that's how you say it. And so I just got to know them so much more. And just I got to work in a after school program. I got to work in an after school program with students, and just work with them, help tutor them, which is really good for my major. So I just love that.
Awesome. Thanks, Ricken. All right. So for my next question, Micah, this is your time. And also Matt. So my question is, how is APU preparing you to go into your field, whether that's networking? Matt, I want you to touch on networking, or internships, just what those opportunities have looked like inside the classroom to really prepare you to go into your career.
Yeah, internships is a very big thing here at APU. I believe that around more than 60% of our students actually get internships while they're in school. And I know that that's because a lot of our internships are built into your course program. So for me, I'm going to be taking an internship my next semester, and then I'm going to be doing that. And then, yeah, so internships is just a great way to connect with people and get some real world experience. Hopefully I'll be interning with a physical therapy place. So I'm really, really excited for that. And yeah, APU has really helped me with my field, especially because I'm going to be hopefully working with people. So being able to connect with people and being able to see everyone and actually interact with them is going to be really, really good.
Yeah, internships are a really great way to get experience in your like field of interest while you're still in undergrad. And if you end up not liking it, then there's time to change that career trajectory. So yeah, internships are great. Also, going along with building connections with professors, the staff here on campus is also a really good resource for you. And so that's why Kira was pointing at me for networking, because I've utilized them really well. I feel like I was like really shy in high school, and so I really wanted to get involved in college. And yeah, like they're the people that are going to be like letters of recommendation for jobs later. And so it's really important to like build those relationships, whether that's a professor or like someone off campus, like in your internship. That's also really well. So networking is super important. And I am currently looking at grad school to go to student affairs. And so I actually have a meeting with a professor next week to talk about like what that looks like, and just what that looks like, and have some guidance, because I don't know how to find a grad school. And so finding a grad school through someone who has already been in that place is super, super helpful. And yeah, just don't be afraid to shoot an email and ask people to get coffee, grab lunch, because they really are there to serve you, and they're really there to be a resource for you on campus. So networking is super important and super helpful in finding that support for entering the workplace after graduation.
Awesome. Thank you both. We are going to wrap up with one more question I want everyone to answer. And that question is about a piece of advice that you could give somebody coming to APU. Obviously, we've all been there. There's a lot of overwhelming things about the transition. So whatever you have to be able to aid that anxiety, give some peace of mind to incoming potential students. Let's start with Reagan.
My piece of advice, I think Brindley already touched on this earlier, but basically just like go to every event, and even if you might be going alone, just because like for at least all of us, like that is how a lot of us made friends, and that's how like I made some of my best friends, which was really, really awesome. So like, and also all the events are so much fun. Campus Life just does such a good job of like putting on events, and especially coming back from COVID, like our events have just been great. We have a dance coming up next Friday, so I'm really excited for that. I just love dances. So I just like go out and do things. Like, this is college, this is the time to live with your friends and have fun, but also study. And just like, I don't know, with that having a balance of like going out and like doing everything, but then like also taking time to like be by yourself, because this transition like can be overwhelming and hard. But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to pass it off to Brenly.
Yay, me. I think that my biggest piece of advice is like enjoy this season. I got really overwhelmed with the application process because it's like everyone has a million questions for you, and like they want to know where you're going and what you want to study, and like how many schools have you like applied to, and it gets really overwhelming. And so just like take it slow and like trust that like it's not about how many schools you're applying to, it's about like, are they really going to cater to your needs? Are you going to get what you want to get out of your college experience if you attend this university? And just really think that through before submitting your application to any school. And if you choose to come to APU, like I mentioned earlier, like welcome weekend is so fun. So just make sure that like while you're here, especially those first couple of days, you're doing everything that you possibly can to like get involved and meet people, because everyone is in the same boat as you and they're also trying to meet people. So just be outgoing and go to everything, and it's gonna be great.
Thanks, Brenly. Micah, you're up.
Awesome. My one piece of advice is to don't be afraid to try new things. are going to start a whole new life in college, hopefully at APU. And I would want you to be able to have the best experience you can get. And I think to do that, you need to be able to be open to everything and anything. Go out late night to get food with people. Do random funny things. Do things that you would not normally do. And I think just being able to be open and accepting of everything is something that I definitely struggled with, and I have been trying to be better since then.
Awesome. All right, Matt.
Yeah, my piece of advice is a piece of advice that a current student gave me when I was applying. So they've now graduated, but when they were here, they told me, yeah, Brentley touched on it, but everyone is in the same boat as you. And so don't be afraid to reach out to people, because even though it may seem like they've been friends for like 10 years, they haven't. They met them yesterday. Like, welcome weekend is a time that like it's gonna feel overwhelming and a lot because you're gonna get over flooded with information, but you will ultimately be okay. And like, yeah, I would say maybe for that weekend, like try to do as much as you can, but remember that it's a marathon and not a sprint. So like take time for yourself and rest, because I went super heavy like first semester on like being involved in everything, like wanting to stay up till like 5 a.m. every night. And that wasn't great. Like it was really fun for that time, but like that's not sustainable. And so yeah, if you're introverted, if you're like not as social, like that's okay. You can still find your place in college, and you can be involved in different events. You can get involved on campus while still having that time to recharge and take care of yourself. And so, yeah, everyone is in the same boat, and it's okay to say no. I guess that sums it up really well.
All right, I'm going to end with my piece of advice. And my piece of advice has more to do, I think, with the college decision process. And it was something that was said to me. I struggled a lot, like coming down to the wire, picking a school. And something that kind of changed how I thought about it was that somebody was like, you are created exactly the way that you're created because you're needed somewhere within a community, within the kingdom of God. And so I just really started to consider like my own passions and my own strengths, and started to think about schools in terms of who do I think is going to really invest in these passions, and who do I think is going to come alongside me to really like foster this in me and make me who I want to be and who I like dream to be eventually. And ultimately that was what made me decide to go to APU. That might not be the case for you, but always I want you to consider that, because like APU is great and so intentional about investing in students and really developing those passions. But when you're deciding what school you're going to go to, make sure you're considering yourself in that process as well, and considering what you want to get out of a school, and really asking the questions to be able to decide what you're going to do that, because you are needed somewhere within a community. And yeah, that's what I'm going to end with. So I want to thank you guys all for coming. Thanking the panelists as well. You guys all did amazing. But a reminder to check out our different events that we have on campus, to check out the school, preview days, open houses, all that good stuff. And then if you're wanting to come visit, absolutely sign up for a tour. One of these faces in here may be your tour guide, which is really fun. You can always be like, oh yeah, I saw you on the Zoom, and we'll be like, oh good, yay. So yeah, absolutely sign up for those. If you have any more questions, please reach out to us. Our email is admissions@apu.edu, but you can always give a call as well, and somebody is there to help. So with that, we will wrap it up. Have a good rest of your evenings, everybody, and thanks for coming.